Hi everyone, welcome to the Analyst. Today we are going to learn about XLOOKUP. Okay, so first let's understand the difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. So in VLOOKUP, in the video which we had covered, we had seen that the unique ID, which was employee ID in our case, was the extreme left column. Now, in XLOOKUP, the difference is we'll be having the unique ID, which is again employee ID, as the topmost row. So if you can see here, our data starts with employee ID, which is the unique ID, followed by the employee name, country, age, and designation. Now, in case your unique ID is not on the topmost row and you still need to use XLOOKUP, you would first need to arrange and sort your data such that employee ID, that is the unique ID, is on the topmost row. So now let's begin with the use of the formula for XLOOKUP. Now here, as we had discussed, if we want to pull up details in our practical life scenarios from a huge base data, we'll need to start filling up these cells. So let's start with the formula. Is equal to XLOOKUP, the lookup value. So the lookup value is the unique ID, which is employee ID. So let's select that, comma. The table array is nothing but the base data. So let's go and select the base data. As we discussed earlier in our previous video, we'll need to freeze the cell and lock the cell. So simply press F4, which is nothing but these dollar signs which come across, which means that the entire base data which we have selected is locked, which is nothing but the absolute reference. Okay, put the comma. Now the employee name is the second row, as you can see. First row is employee ID, second row is employee name, third row is country, fourth row age, and fifth row is the designation. Okay, so here we need employee name, which is the second row. So simply press 2, comma, 0 means exact match, close the bracket, enter. So here you can see it has correctly picked up the employee name, and now just by drag and drop, it automatically picks up the correct names for the various employee IDs. Why? Because as we had already discussed and covered in our previous videos, this is due to the relative reference cells. As you can see here, it starts with A8, which is the employee ID. Here. Okay, similarly, if you see for the previous details, the cell reference is A6, which picks up details for employee ID 3 from the base data. Okay. Now, we want to fill up the details for country, age, and designation as well. So, as we had already discussed, simply copy paste the formula to save time and paste it. And the only thing what needs to be changed is the row reference number, which in this case, as we had seen, the country comes in row number 3. So we'll simply delete 2 and update it as 3, enter. Now simply drag and drop. Okay, this is due to the relative cells, which automatically picks up the correct employee ID and pulls up the details from the base data. Let's do the same thing for age and designation. Copy, paste, and change the row number, wherein age was the 4th row. So simply update 4, hit enter. Same thing here, copy paste, where designation was the 5th row. So simply update it as 5, hit on enter. Now simply copy paste and drag down the formula. It will correctly pick up the details from the base data. How do you check that? So you just need to look at the formula which has been used, where you can see A6, which is the unique ID which we are looking up for, is having a relative cell reference. So it's like whichever cell you want to put the formula, it will pick up details for that cell. Like here, as you can see, A6 picks up details for employee ID 3, which is nothing but on the A6 cell. And here the base data is locked, which has the dollar sign. So it will pick up the correct details for employee ID 3. Another concept which you had also covered was on the exact match and the approximate match. So in this case, as you can see, a formula always ended with 0, which means this is the exact match. However, there is another thing called approximate match. Say for example, we instead of employee ID 3, we have employee ID 3.2. Okay. Now you can see it's throwing up errors which is not applicable. Why? Because our formula was based on an exact match and we do not have any employee ID 3.2 in our base data. So to pick up the approximate match, what we need to do is simply change 0 to 1, which is the approximate match. And as you can see, 3.2 approximate match picks up details for employee ID 3, which is Nico Lozano. It's the same thing what you can see here. Similarly, you can update the details for country, age and designation. All you need to do is update 0 to approximate match, which is 1, and hit on enter. It picks up Japan as the country, which is the approximate match for employee ID 3. Now the logic here is 3.2 will pick up details from its lower end. So for example, here we have employee IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3.2 lower ID is 3, which is why it's picking up details for employee ID 3. Okay. We'll take another example. So first let's quickly complete employee ID 3.2 and we'll pick up another example as well. Let's say for example, instead of employee ID 5, we have employee ID 5.5. Now, based on what we've discussed, 5.5, we do not have any employee ID 5.5 in the base data. And as we discussed and as we know, for an approximate match, instead of picking up details for 5.5, it will pick up the lower details, which is employee ID 5 details should be picked up because that's the closest and the lower end of 5 to 5.5. Let's just cross check what we've discussed. So here, simply the formula remains the same. Only change would be instead of exact match, we would make it approximate match. And as you can see, it's rightly picking up the details. Okay. To cross check it, employee ID 5.5 will pick up employee ID 5 details, which is the approximate and the lower end of 5.5. So as you can see, designation, age and country, which is Germany 30 and senior consultant, all relates to employee ID 5 and his name is Dolores Hooper, which is the same thing reflecting here. Hope you have enjoyed and learned something new from this video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.